Administration of the former ruling APRC party has renewed call for its exiled former leader to return home from Equatorial Guinea. Kenya uses public transport to trace cases of coronavirus in the country. COVID-19 restrictions continue to cause economic pressure for businesses in South Africa. This and more coming on The World Today. Hello, this is Africa TV and you are watching the World Today News Bulletin. I am Amadou Kante. Many thanks for joining us. And now the news in detail. Now the Alliance for Patriotic Reorientation and Construction APRC has renewed call for the return of the Jammeh left for the Equatorial Guinea following his defeat in the December 2016 elections after his 22-year rule. The party's interim leader emphasized on Wednesday that the former leader is a Gambian who deserved a rightful home return. Here is more details of that in this report. The interim party leader of the former ruling Alliance for Patriotic Reorientation and Construction renewed his plea with the head of state to allow former President Jammeh to return home, even if it means facing justice. The former ruler, currently on exile in Equatorial Guinea, is accused of committing gross human rights violations, sexual violence and economic crimes during his 22-year rule under the APRC. Speaking during the party's press conference Wednesday evening, Fabakary Tombong-Jatta said that Jammeh can only be prosecuted when he comes back home.
Whatever Batambedu and his cohort had done is criminal and illegal. That's the decision of the court. You don't only stop it, you must tell people where are those properties, who are there, are they on rent, have you rented any of them, who is collecting the money, and return those properties to their owners, and others to be punished. Now the Gambia Court of Appeal has categorically stated that sales of properties of those affected by the commission or whatever are illegal, and whatever is there cannot be enforced or executed. So what I am saying is Batambedu must bring back those properties to their owners.
Gambia's Attorney General and Minister of Justice had informed the public that the former president will be arrested to face justice if he ever set foot in the country. However, Mr. Jatta noted that the party is in agreement with the government in looking into the activities of the APRC, but that would only be allowed on an independent and impartial procedures. The APRC admitted to making mistakes, but that serious crimes have also been committed under the current leadership.
But what we are saying is, they are saying Yahya Jammeh stole all the money. They are saying Yahya Jammeh killed all the people. They are saying human rights violations of various kinds. I am saying, if it is killing, if you say Yahya Jammeh killed, this government killed. If you say Yahya Jammeh has stolen, this government has stolen. If you say Yahya Jammeh has violated human rights, this government has violated human rights. But what order did Yahya Jammeh do that this government did not do? Is the good things of building schools, free education, electricity, roads, infrastructure, everything you can imagine.
The APRC's interim leader described members of the party as God-fearing, disciplined, but that doesn't mean their rights could be compromised anytime and anywhere. Reporting for Africa News, I am Amadou Kante. Report the public transport sector to trace more COVID-19 cases through cashless payment. Well, more than 40,000 across the country have been used for the service, but it is not without challenges. The government says it is an appropriate approach to contain the virus with the public in support of the idea. Here's more details of that in this report.
They are the backbone of Kenya's public transport sector. Popularly known as matatus, there are more than 47,000 14-seater taxis across Kenya. And now, the government wants to use them to trace contacts of COVID-19 cases through the use of cashless payment apps. A recent public notice by the National Transport Authority says the payment system will also provide a platform for an effective contact tracing application. But not all public transport operate in favor of cashless payments, as I soon discover on my way to the Central Business District. Once seated, I'm immediately offered sanitizer in line with Ministry of Health guidelines on COVID-19. Cashless payments is a brilliant idea, but it's not without its challenges. It's already in use in the sector, but it's not mandatory. Shukri Ahmed, the taxis conductor, says the current cashless system is not foolproof.
The passenger pays you and later reverses the transaction. There is a day a passenger paid $2 and on alighting the vehicle, he reversed the payment.
For the government, it makes sense. Contact tracing apps use Bluetooth technology to alert smartphone users when in the vicinity of someone exposed to COVID-19. But the $2 billion matatu industry has been deeply affected by COVID-19. Social distancing guidelines mean they can no longer fill their vehicles.
It has affected us a lot. We now carry 8 passengers instead of 14.
Hanging on the taxi's door, Shukri's attempts to attract passengers bear no fruit. As I pay for my ride using a mobile money app, I inquire from Shukri why they prefer cash.
The policeman wants his share. Touts have to be paid, so cashless will be difficult.
Cash, they say, is king.
And from the report there in Kenya, we come back home and report on the ongoing TRC hearings because according to the testimony of a Mile 2 inmate, the food provided for prisoners for human consumption. The TRC also had on Thursday that prison staff have been depriving inmates good food except on religious occasions. More details of that in this report by our Makalo.
The first inmate from the Mile 2 Central Prison to appear before the Truth, Reconciliation and Reparations Commission testified on Thursday that the quality of food was among the leading causes of sicknesses among prisoners. Soriba Konde, a Gina Conakry national who is serving a 14-year term jail for theft, breaking, is expected to leave the cell by the end of his term in about 9 months. According to the testimony of Soriba Konde, the food provided for them is not healthy for human consumption. He alleged that the meat catered for inmates by the state was mostly stolen by prison officials. He said prisoners would only consume meat and healthy food during religious occasions like Christmas, Eid, or during the month of Ramadan as a result of support from the community.
Just like these Kurite prayers, Kanifim Mosque will cook something very good for the prisoners, and they'll bring it, and we really eat something good that day. Also, if
them sponsor, indi
and also for the Tobaski, that's the same thing happens. They will cook something very good and bring it. But even that, don't think everything will reach the prisoners. They will steal part of it.
But government ensures that meat is brought to the prison at least once a week.
Why nak nguur gi ñoom dañ dee gis ne dinañ indi yàppa foofu ci kaso bi lum néew néew benn yoon ci
bés yàppa la te mais yàppa bi soo ko gis ñeneen yax la ñeneen siliti la doo ko mun a understand ban façon yàppa la.
That meat they are talking about, sometimes it is only intestines or veins or bones. It's something that people will not understand what kind of meat it is.
Konde also alleged that some prisoners died of beriberi because they were denied access to medical attention.
The problem is, to take prisoners and take them to hospital is always a problem for them.
They also complain.
If you complain, if you go to the clinic or they take you to the clinic, their clinic there, they will just give you painkillers.
You see? Lastly,
they were very annoyed with me for that, because there was somebody who was having stomach problems. They didn't bring flagyl for him. Somebody with a running stomach, how can painkillers help that person?
And what eventually happened to the person? What eventually happened to the person? Was he ultimately treated?
We prisoners there, some of us keep medications with us there. Some of us have quality medicines in there.
If
He explained to the commission that prison officials were negligent of inmates, which he said was in the name of security.
As for them, you die in this prison, is better for them to escape. Even to have their kids die in their compounds is better for them than a prisoner to escape from the prison.
And escapes means that much to them?
So their mom, lol ke mom, nyungi kontan. I understand.
When an inmate dies, they are happy about that.
Yes. Need the part that he can do like that.
Somebody dies and nothing is done about it. What do they think? Just like
the Mile 2 Central Prison was opened in 1920 by the British colonial authorities. The prison contains a remand wing where juvenile offenders and other awaiting trials are held, and a security wing which houses high-security prisoners, including those on death row, political prisoners, and other convicted inmates. Reporting for
Now, of course, witnesses continues to appear before the Truth, Reconciliation and Reparation Commission. Now, former Janjaweed rebel commander implicated for war crimes in Darfur is in the custody of the International Criminal Court after surrendering himself in the Central African Republic on Wednesday. Ali Kujihab has been issued with arrest in April 2007 for alleged crimes against humanity. His initial appearance before the ICC pre-trial chamber 2 is expected in due course. Sona Tunkara has more in this report.
The chief prosecutor of the International Criminal Court has said that her office will not relent until all suspected perpetrators are brought before the law for justice to be served. Fatou Bensouda was speaking during a virtual meeting of the Security Council after former Janjaweed rebel leader Ali Mohammed Al-Rahman, also known as Ali Kosheb, surrendered in the Central African Republic on account of the ICC arrest warrant issued in April 2007. Kosheb, who is alleged to have committed 50 war crimes and crimes against humanity in the Darfur crisis of Sudan, was transferred to the ICC on Wednesday. The Gambian-born ICC chief prosecutor noted that Sudan remained under international legal duty to surrender all the suspects subject to ICC arrest warrants without delay, and called on Adala Banda to follow the example of Kosheb.
I remain hopeful that a new chapter of constructive ICC Sudan engagement, rooted in mutual respect and a genuine commitment to bringing justice for the victims of heinous crimes committed in Darfur, may be on the horizon. Dialogue between my office and the government of Sudan is imperative.
Al-Kosheb was a senior Janjaweed commander who supported the then president of Sudan, Omar al-Bashir, against the Darfur rebel groups, leading to the death of hundreds of thousands of civilians in Darfur during 2003 and 2004. Kosheb is said to have ordered his Janjaweed militia to carry out notorious atrocities such as mass rape and sexual brutality, looting of houses and marketplaces, and the forceful displacement of civilians. According to the UN, more than 200,000 people have been killed and more than 2 million are thought to have been displaced. Bensouda added that the transfer of Ali Kosheb to the ICC court is of great development to seek justice for the victims who have waited so long.
This is a pivotal development in the Darfur situation, especially for those victims who have awaited so long for justice. I hope that the suspect's transfer to the court also sends a clear and unequivocal message that no matter how long it takes or the obstacles placed in our path, my office will not stop until the alleged perpetrators of Rome Statute crimes are brought to justice.
Regardless of the Darfur conflict said to have been going on since 2003, the ICC ceased to show no dormancy in pursuit of justice.
Justice for Darfur has already been elusive for too long. It is past time for that unsatisfactory state of affairs to change. A window of opportunity has been opened. We must collectively seize it. Let us act together to finally bring justice to the victims in Darfur.
In December 2018, former President Omar al-Bashir was ousted, leading to the creation of a new political climate that is expected to build a system entrenched in freedom, justice, and the rule of law. Al-Bashir is currently serving a 2-year sentence for corruption, while charges for crimes against humanity and war during the Darfur conflict are pending. For iAfrica TV, Sohna Tunkara.
And from the report there by Sohna Tunkara, we will now take a break and come back shortly with the remaining of the stories. Stay with us, we'll be right back. Welcome back. You are watching the World Today News Bulletin on Africa TV, and now to the rest of the stories. Now, the impact of the COVID-19 global pandemic has largely affected the Ugandan tourism industry. The government decision to restrictions for another 1 month is expected to further affect the sector. Local authorities estimate a possible loss of $1.6 billion for the sector after the pandemic. Here is more details of that in this report.
Amos Wekesa is a tour operator in Uganda. He says his business has slowed down due to COVID-19.
At least 80 of my staff have gotten letters to go on forced leave, really. And it's sad, it's not their problem, but again, you can't be spending when you're not earning. So we stopped earning in February as a business.
The Uganda government has also imposed flights traveling to border districts is not allowed, curfew and lodges are still closed for at least a month. This is affecting the tourism industry.
Hotel bookings have just dropped off like a cliff, like dropping off a cliff. Air travel has dropped considerably. So we expect revenues to drop, but our costs are still high.
The Uganda government earned $2 billion in tourism revenue in 2017, up from $1.7 billion in 2016. But with the outbreak of COVID-19, they are uncertain about meeting their targets. Local authorities believe the country could lose $1.6 billion in tourism earnings after the pandemic. The International Monetary Fund has also projected that Uganda's tourism earnings could fall by 54% in the 2019-2020 fiscal year. Tour operators believe that a stimulus package from government will help the industry recover. But with many countries opening up and airlines beginning to fly, they hope for a quicker return to business towards the end of the year.
From the report there in Uganda, Kampala, finally we head to South Africa because the South African decision to ease COVID-19 restrictions to level 3 has left some businesses still shut down for more than 2 months. While some businesses resume operations following the easing of restrictions, while others couldn't make it. While owners of the affected businesses are urging government to further widen the economy to allow them go back to work. Here is more details of that in this report.
Here it is, a small Johannesburg hairdresser usually buzzing with clients has been shut for over 2 months. It's had no government help and bills are piling up as the lockdown drags on.
We applied for relief and we were rejected. It's extremely bad for our staff. We were trying to help in terms of, food for the past 2 months. If we go beyond 4 months, it's going to be extremely difficult for us. We're going to have to go and maybe apply for a loan to pay the rent, and then we will have to make arrangements and take it from there.
Government widened the economy, allowing millions of South Africans to go back to work under level 3. Salons have not made the cut, but are preparing to open.
I've disinfected the salon already. I've got the sanitizers. I've got the thermometer to screen clients. At each workstation, I've got the shield mask. And on the floor, we have the 1.5 meter social distance where the clients will sit. If you look at the taxi industry, they sit so close to each other in the taxis. Why can the hair salons and the beauty industries not open up?
Once busy restaurants now also stand empty. La Boqueria's downsized kitchen staff prepare takeaway meals. Alcohol is also back on sale, but it won't be enough to curb mounting losses.
We jumped at the opportunity to do some takeaways purely because it gave some staff, albeit only 5 or 8% of the staff that were there, an opportunity to do something, because after 5 weeks of lockdown, you become quite desperate.
Government is reviewing a proposal to allow dine-ins under level 3 laws, which have been deemed unconstitutional and invalid by a court.
We can easily, in this place, accommodate 120 people and make sure they're socially distanced. So the legislation makes no sense to us. We will make sure our customers feel safe. We will make sure that our customers aren't compromised. We will make sure that the controls at ablution facilities, we will give the customers the option to re-sanitize anything that they get from us that they're not comfortable with.
Both these industries are on their knees as a result of the prolonged lockdown. If regulations aren't changed soon, many smaller businesses may not be able to open their doors again.
And that report there in South Africa finally brings this news bulletin to an end. But for more details on this and other stories, you can also look on our website on africa.tv. Well, many thanks for the pleasure of your company. Thanks for watching and bye for now.
dama kontaan bu baax sax si ñëw bi nga ñëw seet si suma tabax gi kontaan naa ci trop trop. maa gën a kontaan bi ma ñëwee fekk